Hi, babes.
Hi, bitches. Welcome to episode 17 of, I almost said of Wicked Beauty. Of Lash Confessions. We are inside of Wicked Beauty doing the dang thing.
We are gonna just actually go on a Q&A with Becca because she just got back from LA. She went to Lash Con, which is a lash conference that's...
They literally call it the Lash Conference because if you don't know, you're about to know. It is the Lash Conference. It is the one for lash artists solo. Point blank period. We have been to conventions for aesthetics and spa. There's always a hair conference everywhere you fucking turn. There's sorry YouTube. There's a hair conference. Like there's literally all kinds of conferences, but it is nothing. Lashes are kind of new to this world, especially for it being like a community of lashes, and lashes being saturated and trendy is so new that, like, this conference is literally the only one of its freaking kind. And I don't care who tries to put another one together. You're not going to have the Lash Conference because, baby, we were there for 3 days. It was 4 nights. Taylor and I didn't go the first night because we were in Disneyland. Sorry, not sorry. And it was a whiteout, like, come meet and greet kind of party. So it would have been a blast. When I saw the pictures, I was so upset that I didn't go, and I will not miss a single event next year. I swear by it. However, we did not go the first night, so we got 3 days, 3 nights, and it was literally go, go, go. When people are like, what did you do? I'm like, I'm still processing. We're still pending, baby, because we woke up every day at 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning to start getting ready. We would not make it back to the hotel for the first time until anywhere between 5:30, 6:30-ish in the afternoon. And then we would have about 2 hours until we would go to the next party, which goes on till about 11 or midnight.
Oh my
so
goodness.
It was like boom, 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 boom. So it's so much. There's courses, there's classes you can sit on, there's motivational speakers, there's brands that you know and love are hosting these courses as well, like the founders and the CEOs of these companies that we use on a daily basis. PLA, London Lash, Elibana, like all of these brands, Lash Anarchist, and we got to meet them, learn from them, shop their stuff.
Yes.
Like, it was such an experience. Like I said, it is called the Lash Conference for a freaking reason, and we're gonna dive in and talk all about it, mostly because I'm just trying to convince Camryn that she needs to buy her ticket so she can come next year.
I want to be there, yes.
There's so much that, like, happened, and I feel like I could talk about this literally for 3 days and 3 nights to give you a full recap.
Yeah.
But we gotta make this episode short or the people are gonna be like, Becca, shut the fuck up. So I'm gonna try really hard to just give you guys the best parts of it. I've posted all over social media pictures and snippets, so I'm not gonna attach any extra pictures. Like, I feel like everybody's getting the gist that we had an effing blast. Like, there were 1,300 people there, and I swear to God, I probably talked to about half of them. Like,
oh my goodness.
Like,
that schedule was serious, and you gotta meet so many people.
So many people, and anybody who I met, I hope y'all went home and looked at a damn map and you know where the fuck Nebraska is now, because that shit was insane to me. Y'all don't know where Nebraska is? Like, girl. I'm like shocked, because people would be like telling me where they're at, where they're from, and like I know where like Rhode Island is, I know where Nevada is, you know, like I can look at a map and point in the general direction of where that's got to be.
Yep.
These folks were like, where's Nebraska? Are you in the South? The South? Ma'am! Like, oh my Lord. So I hope y'all looked at a map. That's all I'm going to say. Like, the first class that we wanted to go to wound up being so, like, sought after that the first class was, they had to kick people out.
Whoa.
they didn't have enough chairs, and so many people were already standing that they had to start kicking people out, and people were so hot they were like stripping layers because it was so hot in the room.
Oh my goodness.
So the next time, that same class was the first one it had gone on in the morning, and so Taylor and I were just like, well, why would we get there so early, have nothing to do, and then go to our first mix and mingle? So we waited for the second class. When we found all that out, we went to go to the class that was hosted later, and literally there were people waiting in a line, and we were like, we have a feeling we're not gonna make it into this class. So we had left, and there was another like mix and mingle thing that we went to go to, and we just that was kind of all that like the first day was a lot of like mix and mingles, a lot of like getting to know the people that were there, and then they had the Vegas night party, so everybody got all glitzed and glammed out, and we went and had a little party. And like I tell you, every single room you walk in, somebody's giving you free stuff. Every party you show up to, there's free stuff. Like, it was insane. When we got to the Vegas night, it was in the adjacent hotel, and so when we got in there, you knew where you were going because it was Vegas out, girl. They had like the Las Vegas like archway, like they were giving out goodie bags for like the next morning, like if you were hungover. And they had fake money with Paul and Tessany. They are the hosts of the podcast Lashcast, and Lashcast puts on Lash Con. They're like, who does this whole freaking thing? And they're a husband and wife duo. It was their face on a $500 fake dollar bill. And it was them recording their podcast or whatever. It was so perfect because as soon as you walk in, it's all fake gambling. So you take this fake money and you go fake gamble, and there's picture booths everywhere. And if you're in the area and you come into Wicked Beauty, every single night there was a Polaroid like setup situation where it would print out these pictures, and whoever was hosting the event had like a cute little frame around the pictures. So it was like all these photo booths that were printing out these pictures. It was so cute. And then it would be like LashCon 2023 with like a pair of tweezers or like whatever.
Cute.
So they're hanging in the bathroom, so you guys will have to peep those if you're in the area. So the photo booths were a 10 out of 10 every night. Taylor knew, like, oh, we gotta get in line because Becca's gonna want that.
Yes.
And sure enough, I did.
All the candid moments.
Girl, yes. So then that was a blast. That was a lot. There was a dessert bar set up at the Vegas night. Like, it was amazing. It was amazing. So then on Sunday, that was the first day that was like, gotta get up, gotta start like going crazy, because there was class after class after class. Saturday or Sunday and Monday, they had breakfast open at 8 a.m. So you walk in and it's like huge conference room where you just walk through and you start grabbing whatever you want. And you mosey your way to the conference room, and both of those mornings when you get in, there's, they did it a little different. So on Sunday, right away you got breakfast and you went into the conference room, and when I tell you it's like fog machines and disco balls and strobe lights, and it's like a frickin' party, and it's 8:15 in the morning, and they come out, Paul and Tessany come out with these frickin' t-shirt cannons, these potato guns, bitch.
Oh
and they're launching frickin' t-shirts into the audience. They gave everybody pom-poms, so every time something was happening, we're like waving our pom-poms and screaming.
We love that.
It was a riot. And again, it was 8:15 in the morning. Like, it was insane. And
Good morning.
Girl. And so that first morning is when we had like a ton of motivational speakers. That's where Ryan Leake was speaking, and he, oh my God, he just took the crowd. And for the first day of speaking and like having us all together in one big room, in one big group, that was insane. And then the trade show opened. Oh my God. The trade show opening was literally like, it reminds me of like when you're at a state fair and they have like those long halls that are full of cows.
Yes.
And then they try and get all the cows down one aisle, and then they try and get them to turn down the same corner. That was literally how it was, because you walked in and it's a long hallway of booths. And then there's like 4 doors to this big, huge, ginormous conference room, and then it's like rows of people. And of course, when everybody gets in, we're all stopping at the first booth, because it's the first day, it's the first booth, it's the first event, it's so much. Oh my God, it was so much. There were 1,300 people swarming down this hallway at one time, and it was just the energy of like Black Friday. Like, it was like, ah! like, lash supplies on sale. It was insane. And so every day the lash, the trade show was going on during classes. So literally, if you were not in a class learning something, interacting with a brand or a speaker or doing something, you were running around the trade show. And also, there was an in-app game that you would speak to whoever and ask them for a game code. Every single booth had a game code. Every single person had a game code. Like, the more people you talk to and ask about a game code, the more codes you got to put in, the more points you got. Taylor and I were at like 5,300 when we were like, holy shit, I can't even think about this game anymore. And there were people at 9,100. And we're like, how did you even do that? Like, where did you even go? Like, so I feel like a lot of these girls own their own business, or they rent their own chair, rent their own room, have their own employees. That was the first on Saturday morning, the events that you had to have tickets for were specifically for businesses with employees. That is the only thing Taylor and I don't want is employees. I will run anything else. I will sell anything else. I will manage anything else, but not people. Yeah. And not people's clients and not people's money. I don't want to be in charge of other people. Yeah. You pay me a rent check, and I love that. I love this relationship. But I don't want to know, like, I love you and I care about you, but I don't want to have to deal with your sick day. I don't want to deal with your clients. I don't want to deal with your reschedules. I don't want to pay you. Yeah. That's too much for me. Anyways, that was a rabbit hole I didn't have to jump into. That was what most of Saturday's mornings, like, events were for, and obviously that wasn't our path, so we skipped those. But same thing, like, we're all lash artists, but we're lash entrepreneurs. A lot of this wasn't just for lash artists either. That's where when the motivational speakers come in, or tax things. We sat in on classes about tax tips and tricks. Say that 3 times fast. We sat in on marketing, and just like, there was a girl who, she was a motivational speaker, but she is a lash artist. And so she was kind of giving us, like, she's where I took away the, bruh, you got too much shit on your plate. Yeah. Like, you wonder why you feel like you're at the bottom of a swimming pool and you can't ever get to the top. That's because you're the one that's controlling the faucet that's on full blast on top of the pool. So, like, shut your damn faucet off, get to the top, and then turn the faucet on how you want it, that pace that you need it to, because we are so prone as entrepreneurs, because it is a scary, unpromised, unstable world of being an entrepreneur, to add on 67 services to our thing, and then we're no longer a lash artist. We are no longer crafting the lashes, right? We are no longer perfecting the lashes because we've added on literally everything. And they kept joking about how, like, the lash artist who also waxes the coochies. And I think that is so funny, because we literally offer lashes, waxing, and spray tans here. And I was like, let's add on permanent jewelry. I want to do nails in the back. Like, and so that was such a, like, Rebecca. Like, and I could feel Taylor looking at me, because here I am, like, literally. She's literally like, you know, they're talking to you. I'm like, yeah. Because I was like, bro, well, let's just, like, expand. Let's just fly. Like, I'm so quick to be like, if there is money to be made, I want to make it. And they are like, we get that. But there's so much money to be made right here without having to feel like you have no control and nothing that you're, like, 100% perfecting, right? Mm-hmm. So that's where, even with you, I came back and I was like, even just thinking, because I don't like to be the person that's like, I have too much shit on my plate, I'm going to get rid of shit. No. I'm going to condense that shit. So I'm looking at my plate and I'm going, work, life, podcast, gym. You know, I'm seeing all these big chunks, and I'm looking at how the big chunk can get made just a little bit smaller, right? Rather than looking at every little itty bitty chunk and having to kick all the itty bitty chunks off. Yeah. That's just how my brain makes it a little more positive, rather than you have, like, to stop doing things that you're doing. You know what I mean? Yes. So I even came and sat down with Cam, and I was like, our podcast. Yeah. We're doing too much shit. I said, we need to record our podcast. We need to put our podcast on YouTube, and that needs to be that. Yep. We need to take clips of that, and we need to put that on Instagram. We need to make funny TikToks to put on TikToks. That's it. I was like, we need to get rid of this. we have to have behind the scenes. We have to have some way that people pay us. We have to do this. I was like, we had so much fun when this was just on Patreon.
Yeah.
And we were trying to tell people, like, come see us on Patreon. Everything's on Patreon and people weren't seeing us because you had to pay to see us on Patreon, right? And we were having so much fun because we didn't feel like we had 8 different places that needed their own set of content.
Yes.
It was all on Patreon. So you were getting snippets of everything on all of our social medias, and everything legit was on Patreon. So we had so much fun when we were doing that, and when we decided to switch gears and be like, take the podcast out of Patreon, put that on YouTube. Take clips of that to promote it and put that on social media, but then we need Patreon. Well, God, people have to have separate shit that they're paying for on Patreon. So now we have to have stuff that nobody sees on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, even though people say that Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook should all have their own reel, their own Facebook reel, their own TikTok, because seeing the same thing all over the place is also annoying. So it's just too much. And I came back and I looked at her and I said, enough.
Yeah.
I literally just today, I was like, I don't know how you feel, but I like told her how I was feeling and everything I thought. And I was like, what you think? And she was like, I like it.
Yeah.
Because she's looking at me and I
think we both were in that place where we were like feeling like, oh my gosh, we've like, what do we do to come up with all of this
literally
stuff?
Per our last episode talking about like with our friendship, like we pick it up on each other's shit without having to say anything. We just look at each other and we get a whole paragraph.
Yeah.
Literally, I was already like coming into this going, hey, I don't know how you feel, going, I know how she feels. I know she gonna say yes, and I know it's a good idea. So let me just tell you what's about to happen, okay? So like I was like, Camryn, like I don't think we need Patreon at all anymore.
Yeah.
People, first of all, this is not the time for people to be spending extra money. We don't have it. I don't have it, girl. Yeah. Like I'm not going to get my lips done and my Botox done as much as I want. I'm about to start doing my own nails because we just don't have the extra money to just like throw around anymore. Like we have to pick and choose what we're doing and where that money is going because of the economy, which rocks. So I was like, between that, like we only have so few people that we have to reach out to, or if they've already let their thing lapse because they could only do it for a month or two to support us because they love us and then whatever. So we were at this sweet spot where canceling wasn't going to put us in a super big deal for like people's finances, our finances, whatnot. We were at a good point to say no more on Patreon. Just pump this out to you guys on YouTube. And again, take clips of it. Make some funny behind the scenes stuff that can go on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook to pull you guys in to go watch us on YouTube. Like, we would much rather do this and have fun out of it and do the podcast that we both wanted to do, that we thought would be so much fun and so great. Come back to that. And that's full circle. That's what I took away from that one speaker was you just have so much shit on your plate and you have to come back to what all those things on your plate, why you even put them on your plate in the first place.
Yeah. Kind of what matters most. What matters most.
I saw this analogy one time about how like filling a jar. If you were to fill the jar with the sand first, there's no room for the big balls, the big rocks, and a cute little fucking branch that you found, right? You're not going to have room for any of that shit. Where if you put all of the really big rocks in first, and then you put in the cool little branch that you saw that was, you know, obviously bigger than the sand, a couple seashells, whatnot, those are your big prioritized pieces. Once you have all that, you put the sand in. The sand will fill in all those little cracks at the bottom, all the big spaces, and all the extra room on the top. So that's the same thing as when you prioritize, you have to look at how all of the big things need to go in first. And you will still have room for the small things. The small things will even still creep through while you're taking care of the big things. Yeah. But if you try and put all the small things in first, you're not going to know when to stop to make room for the big things.
That's the first time I've heard that. I love that.
She a picture girl, you know what I'm saying? So that was one of the speakers that we had on Sunday. Again, circling all the way back to where we started. She was one of the speakers that we had on Sunday, and she was phenomenal. Amazing. All the speakers that they had, you could tell they handpicked each freaking one. You could tell that each sponsor, each person who had a booth, everybody who was there to make Lash Con happen, they picked for a reason. Like, there was no BS. There's no having to weed through, like, who's good, who's bad, who's lying, who's telling the truth, like, whose products are going to be real. You can tell. Like, one thing about Paul and Tuscany is Tuscany has been a lash artist for 13 years. The girl knows what she's talking about. Okay, like, there was a point on Sunday where Taylor and I were sitting in, and there was a Q&A where Tuscany was sitting up there in a chair next to a chemist, and he talked to us about how adhesives are made, what chemicals are released when adhesives are reacting, when they are curing, while they are, again, being made and being mixed, the truth about oils with lashes, the truth about allergic reactions, the truth about, oh my god, that was another one that had me, like, jaw to the floor, like, actual taking hand notes, like, because he was amazing. I'm trying to bring myself back. I knew this was gonna happen, because on Sunday, like I was saying, like, how both Saturday and Sunday we had, like, breakfast and this big thing. Sunday was different because, like, Sunday we got there and we all had breakfast, but then you kind of went and did your own thing, whether you wanted to go to a class or whatever. So Taylor and I were like boom, 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 boom in classes. And then the trade show was also open. So then, again, every time you're not in class, you're running to the trade show. So, like, and you get lost in the trade show. Like, again, because that's where you're talking to the brand. You're talking to the people. Unless they're actively in a class teaching, that's where you're going to snag people, because they're working their booths. You know what I mean? That's where you're building those relationships, showing each other Instagrams and stuff like that. Girl, everybody's lock screen was their QR code for their Instagram, because that's what we all did. Is we were just like, here, follow me on Instagram. 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 Like, it was insane. If they were a sponsor or someone who had, like, a booth, like they worked at the conference, your lanyard had, like, a QR code on it that they would scan, and they could connect with you in the app, in the Lash Con app. It's, bro.
They have it from, like, A to Z, like,
everything.
Wow.
There was a
cool.
map of the trade show and a map of the whole conference, both in the app. Like, the app.
We gotta pull it up, yes.
I do. So when you first come in, it's literally like you have the lobby, the agenda, tips on to have a great con. Here's the social wall, the floor plans.
Wow.
That's where you have a map of both the hotel, where everything's at, and a map of the trade show itself, which that was so nice and so helpful, because, like I said, it was, like, literally, I'll show you actually, trade show floor plan. It was literally, you walked in over here, you came down this long hallway where there were booths, there were doors right here that led you into this huge room of all these booths.
Wow.
So that was the trade show alone. Anxiety on 12. Sponsor booths. So that's, again, just who the hell is there, who to see. Attendees, the Lash Con game, announcements, swipe. You've got the speakers, where to eat, video rooms. The video rooms is, I'm pretty sure that's where everything is going to be for us in, like, the next week or so. Everything gets recorded. Literally everything gets recorded, not just for their social medias, but literally every speaker, every class, everything gets put on here for us to view for the next, I don't know how long. They didn't tell me that. Polling, don't even know what that is. Lash Sponge loves you. Follow us, Lash Con program. And then it just, like, there's just literally so much, you guys. The connections,
awesome.
That's where you get to meet people. You can shake you can be close to someone and you can connect through the app. Or, like I said, they can scan your thing. You can message people back and forth. And that's my profile. It's literally was so planned out. It was so well thought. I didn't realize they've been doing this since 2019. And when they did it in 2019, Paul did it by himself. And he said that was the biggest mistake. They have a crew of people now. Like, the stage was full. There's probably a good 30 people that they work for Paul and Tuscany, social media crew, the whoever, and then they had volunteers. Okay? The volunteers, holy shit balls. There were, like, 400 plus volunteers, I swear to God. I don't know how many volunteers there actually were. Taylor probably knows the number because Paul got up there and on Sunday, like I said, we got breakfast, kind of ran around and did our own thing. But then at 1 o'clock is when they had everybody come into those 2 big conference rooms that I don't know if the wall came down or what the deal was, but it was the biggest room that I had been in. And that's where they had everybody, all 1,300 of us, come in, and they were giving away the prizes that had been accumulated throughout the whole show. Paul did his big old speech about thanking all of his volunteers, all of his crew, all of us for coming, all the sponsors. And he was crying.
Oh, no.
Oh. You know, when you see a man up there, like, crying to the girls about how much he loves, like, this industry and what we all do and to not give up on us, and then he starts tearing up, like, that means a lot to, like, literally everybody, because for me, I felt like they were the 2 people that had stepped up and said, the Lash girls matter. Because I know we were saying in the beginning, I don't know if I ever made it full circle and got through my whole thought before I moved on, but like, the Lash conference is the one thing that is there for Lash artists to feel like they have a voice, they have a reason, and they have a freaking foot in this industry, so that they don't just feel like they're an esthetician who picked up an add-on, or a cosmetologist who is trying to tip her toes into the SD world, because lashes are their own thing. While I firmly believe you need to be licensed, I don't give a damn if you are a licensed esthetician or a licensed cosmetologist, because you have the know-how of the human body and of chemicals and of sanitation and disinfecting. That's all I need to know. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I literally felt so just like, it's like when you go to a concert, you know, or we're going through it together. I don't know, people that get it with you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and yeah, it felt good, especially there's like a company there that was talking about how like they are in the works to become like basically the union for lash artists. I know I had sent you guys the survey through them while we were sitting there, because she was like, we don't even know how many people consider themselves a lash artist and that's what they do, because there's nobody asking. So they started that survey that I sent to everybody, because it literally asks like, what are your goals? Why did you become a lash artist? How many people do you see? What benefits do you want? Because not only is that important in the beauty industry, but let's be real, if they're going to do something like that for the beauty industry, it's going to go to hairstylists. They're going to be the first ones that get sought after. Is going to be the hairstylists, the barbers. The lash artists are going to be low on the totem pole. Yeah. And so to have someone that is stepping up and saying, no, hey, lash artists are here. Yes. And they matter, and
we're running this shit. Like,
yeah, because just as much as every other industry in the beauty industry alone is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So that's why I also love community over competition, because baby, there is more money to be spent out here in this industry than there is in people will spend money on beauty before they spend it on food, girl. So like, don't worry about the girl next to you doing the same thing as you. Just make sure that we're all getting the benefits that we need out of this. That's really what it's coming down to, because hairstylists, nail techs, our nurse practitioners that are stepping into this industry, doing Botox and lasers and fillers, and we are all here together to just make other women feel good, because at the end of the day, it's a man's world. I know we hate that, but it is, and everybody hates on women, so women need to stand together at the very least. So it felt it felt so good to be in a room full of other girls. I mean, there were men there too, which was so like,
I love that.
Lash Cowboy. He was there, bro.
Oh
he was there with his little cowboy hat and everything, dude. Yeah, like, so there were a ton. There were men in the building, baby, that were here for it too. You know what I mean? Like, and part of that community over competition. Like, everybody is friends on Instagram. We're all liking on each other's cute little Lash Con posts. Like, yes, like when they talk about the Lash Conference and they say that like, oh, you're going to meet your besties in the industry. Girl, they do not play. Like, you are really meeting, like, your lash besties. because, yeah, you just click. It's kind of inevitable that you're gonna click with somebody that has been through so much of the similar stuff that you've been and understands things so similar as you. I went on a huge fucking tangent about Lash Con and about every day and how everything was. There was a 70s party that we went to, like a 70s disco party. That was fun. We got free tweezers because
we love that.
I don't even remember the brand. That's awful. I think it's EBLA. They're a tweezer company. Okay. They literally were giving out free tweezers because they hosted the 70s night, and we went there. We had a good time. It was karaoke. Oh, God. I did not karaoke, let me tell you. And then the next day was Monday, and that's where, like I said, like 8 a.m., we went. We got our breakfast. We were chilling. Ran and did a bunch of stuff. Did the trade show. They had that event where we all sat together. Paul did his speech. We talked to the chemist. Like, everybody, they were shooting T-shirts out of potato guns again, and then they broke at about 4:30, 5 o'clock for us to all go do dinner, and then the last event was at 8 o'clock, and it was our last party, and it was a pajama party, but it was a Halloween party.
Cute.
Girl, there was a bounce house in there.
Oh
it
my
had
gosh.
the best music of the night. People were out there twerking. The dance floor was popping. Like, they had pizza buffets. Like, the photo booths were out. Like, it was just amazing. And then, I mean, everybody come Tuesday morning was in the group chats. Like, I miss everyone. How's everybody doing? Everybody's like, again, everybody's posting their reels and their TikToks and their photo recaps of Lash Con, and we're all liking it and tagging each other and talking about how next year we can't wait to see each other and stuff. So it literally, like, when the tickets went on sale, Taylor was like, I'm sending this to everyone, and sent it to our group chat and of all of us Lash girls, and was like, here you go, because it's such an experience. It's one of those things where, like, I don't want to force you to come. I don't want to force you to, like, do what I'm doing, because live your life. But, like, I want you to frickin' experience it so bad. Like, I want you to be there and feel it, and I want you to be just as exhausted as I was at the end of it. Like, I want you to come back and have all these goals for your business that you want.
Light that fire.
Yes, it was, like, and one of the girls, one of the last speakers, she was the lash artist who was also a motivational speaker. She was, like, she was the one that made me take away, like, you got too much on your plate. She was like, take that home with you, because you're going to go home and you're going to be like, oh my God, I have all these ideas from LashCon that I want to incorporate in my business. And she's like, but 6 months goes faster than you think, and a year goes even faster. So when you come back next year and you look at your list and you only did 2 of them, you're going to be really disappointed. So actually, what I want you guys to do, she made everybody, like, make a list of 10 things that we wanted to do by next year. And so we all did, and we all sat with our little thinking caps on for 2 minutes, all 1,300 of us, and wrote our little list. Well, Taylor and I did it together. Cheatsies, because we own the same business. So we made our list of 10, and then she goes, okay, now you're gonna cut it in half. And we were like, no. We want to do all of this.
Yeah.
Because we already had a list of, like, 8 or 9 things before, like, this started. Like, we had a list for Taylor's best friend Chloe. We have a list for you. We have a list for ourselves. A list for Rhea and Logan. Like, we were literally, like, Wicked Beauty in the next 15 years, like, was planned out. You know what I mean? And she's like, nope, cut it in half. And we're like, well, what the? So we cut it in half, and we're like, okay, whatever. And then I had, like, circled the ones that we crossed out that I was like, I think we should still do those. And then, like, she was like, okay, now I want you to pick 2 things off of that list. And we were like, huh? Like, so we did that. And the 2 things that we had left, she was like, that's what you're going to accomplish in the next 6 months.
Nice.
And we were like, okay. Because it makes you feel that much better to not come home and be like, I'm going to do 25 things for my business. I'm going to be a whole new person by the time, because that fire is lit. Yes. And that passion is reignited. And I think that's something that
you just don't want it to burn out.
Yes. And, like, you also don't want to, like, shoot yourself in the foot and, like, upset yourself. Let yourself down.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where you come back next year and you're like, damn, like she said, I only did 2 of those things. Yeah. So to still have that list, but see those 2 things crossed off, and now you can go look at whatever else you want to. Yeah. So, and funny enough, too, the things that Taylor and I have on our list, we already did. Like, one of the things we looked into and we were actually like, that is not something that is capable for us to do at this point in time with our business. The other thing already got accomplished. So then because this one was incapable, we put it on a back shelf and picked up a new one, already crossed it off. Like, which we also, there's 2 of us. So we do take that into consideration. But while that fire is lit, get off your ass and do it. Like, right when you get home from the convention and you're like, don't get me wrong, we just took the last 4 or 5 days to, like, let our brains were mush, girl. They had to re-solidify a little bit. So we gave ourselves due time to, like, let the jet lag sink in, like, get back in our routine, you know, before we dove in. But literally, like, here we are a couple days back into the swing of things, and we were like, we feel good. Like, while that motivation is running rampant, is when you want to dive in and everything that you learned, because as much as I'm like, I don't really know what I learned, there was so much, I'm still processing, the longer I try and sit on it and put together what I learned and dissect it all, I'm going to lose pieces of it, right? Like, because it's still fresh right now. So I know I said I was going to ramble, and I sure have. I'm looking at the time on the thing going, God dang, girl.
There's so much.
God, there's so much. And Camryn and I didn't get to sit down because, again, we had so many things go wrong with our flight on the way home on Wednesday that I had to reconfigure my schedule, and I actually didn't even come back to work until Friday. Taylor worked for a half day on Thursday after everything that went down in the airport. And, there's 3 of us, so getting our schedule to line up when we try doesn't even work, but let alone, like, just my jet lag and hate for coming back from vacation and just real. Like everything. Like, you guys know how when you come back from such a crazy vacation, plus Taylor and I added Disneyland, did the convention, and then did Disneyland California Adventure on Tuesday, and then Wednesday we were stuck in the airport for a good 13 or 14 hours with all of our flight stuff. So I was just trying to get back to life, and I have not had a chance to even sit down. So I was like, Camryn, this is going to be a really good episode, because literally, like, you don't know anything, so I'm just going to tell you everything. But because of that, I was like, this is going to be a long episode. I could ramble on and on and on and on and on, because I seriously took like 400 pictures just at Lash Con. Like, I wrote 6 pages worth of notes, like, just from speakers and classes that I was in. Like, and yeah, it's just something that you gotta do it.
I was supposed to go. Like, I had my ticket, like, had my flight.
Double booked her damn self.
And I double booked myself, so that, that's on me. But next year,
when in doubt, you gotta work it out, girl. You gotta work it out. So she had double booked herself for a wedding to do hair and makeup for family. So, she literally, like, a girl's gotta do what a girl's gotta do. Yes. But she will be coming with. And she will know all about it, feel all about it, because the energy, like, it was so funny, because the first day, like, I swear, every time somebody was like, oh, how was it? We were just like, ugh. But, like, as yesterday and then, like, today, even on Sunday, I was like, oh, my God, no, I had so much fun. I met so many great people, because it was just me being crabby because I was tired. I still haven't meal prepped. I haven't been to the gym, right? And now I'm a couple days into my eating right, my sleeping right, my gymming right. And I'm like, I had a blast. I learned so much. I met so many great people. Like, I can actually appreciate it now.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually feeling a little bit better. Yeah. But, yeah, if you're a lash artist, I don't care what industry you're in. If there is a conference of some sort where, one, you get to leave your city to go meet other people, get those new perspectives, we've talked about it before.
Yes.
Go do it. Go meet new people in your industry. Go get new perspectives from people in your industry. Go just interact. And, it's just continuing education. That's really all it comes down to, is some form of continuing education, but get out of your city. If you can't leave your state, girl, just go to the next city an hour over and meet new people in your industry, other than the same exact people that you see on a day-to-day basis, because hot damn. Not that I don't love my lash girls and they give me so much advice and we all bounce ideas off of each other, but we are all landlocked in Nebraska.
Yes.
There's only so much we get here that we can give off of each other.
New ideas, new things.
New things, new ideas. On that note, Wicked Beauty is going to start doing something flippin' huge.
I'm so excited.
And we're not going to talk too much about it yet because we're still like crossing the T's, dotting the I's, waiting for the boxes to get delivered. But when it goes live, just you lash ladies wait. It's going to be huge. Wicked Beauty is doing a whole lot of things. We hit our 1 year and we said, guess what? And we cranked that gasoline up, girl. We are pouring it on this fire. So stay tuned for all of that. Dude, I talked for way too long. Do you have any questions like that you were like, God, I really hoped I was going to get to see this, do this? Like anything that I didn't say or I said too much of? And now
no, not at all.
Like,
I know we were going to do a Q&A, but I think you like...
I know, I was like, I'm going to just talk a little bit about it, and then you can just, like, ask me questions as I go, but, like, I just kind of, like, like, I seriously, all I can do is talk about it. Like, I should have just called you every single night and debriefed about every day, because that's literally all I can think. Like, I was even telling her how, like I said, like, every room you walk into, somebody was like, here's something free. Like, I literally asked, like, our favorite brand is PLA. And I was at the booth, like, asking them about something. And then I looked, and they had these cute, like, knockoff Starbucks cups. But in where the logo would be, like, eyelashes. And it would say, like, hello, gorgeous. Or just eyelashes. Or it would be, like,
It's so funny because I've got a tumbler in there that I bought from them that I know exactly that you're
They have another one that says, like, yes. Gold Digger. They have cute water bottles, like the ones with, like, the straw inside, like, for gym girlies, and they had lashes on them. Literally, I was like, how much are those cups? The girl goes, just go take one. And I looked at her male coworker, and he goes, if she said so, then yeah. And I was like, okay. And so I, like, grabbed it all slow, and I was looking at them, and they're like... yeah, like, you're okay. So I took it, and then we go back to their actual booth where we do the shopping, and because they were one of the biggest sponsors, so they literally had a booth where you could go talk to them, and you could go, like, get raffle tickets to go enter into their drawing and do all this stuff that was hosted by people. But then in the back, they had a booth that was, like, a fucking football field size, and, like, so much going on, so many people working, so much stuff for sale, and when you get back there, they have this thing that's, like, every $50 you spend, you get a cup. Well, Taylor and I are like, well, we're both about to spend $50, right?
Yeah.
So we did that. They gave us our cups. And then the next day, we're going to a class, and they're like, it was hosted by PLA, and they're like, the first 150 people in line get a lash kit. We said, bet. We stood in line for 30 minutes before they started handing stuff out. We were the person one, there was somebody in front of us, and then it was me, and then Taylor. Literally, 2 and 3. They start coming around, they're like, everybody gets a free, first 10 people in line get a free cup.
Oh my gosh.
We were like, are you fucking shitting me? And then we go to shop there on the last day because we had an inventory list, and we were like, this is going to be like a fair or something. The last day they're going to have the best deals, right? Because they don't want to take it home. So we go with our inventory list, and they're like, every order purchase, doesn't matter how much, you get a free cup.
Oh my
God. So we literally came up with a bag, like a canvas bag full of like 8 cups.
That's amazing.
Like, because it's just literally, and that's just one brand that I'm giving you an example of. Every single time you did something, every wheel you spun, every person you walked by, every person you talked to, free.
Wow.
Like,
wow.
Gel pads, we came home with a stack of gel pads like this thick.
That's amazing.
Like, basically something we would have bought off Amazon.
Yeah.
That people were just like, try our gel pads. And... okay, why not? Yeah.
So, this is giving me ideas for another episode where we're going to have to talk about products that you try and what you think about them from Lash Con.
We've already started trying stuff.
So
like, you already know, I was like, oh, we're trying stuff immediately. Like,
yes. So,
I'm going to drop a little something that I posted it, and they're about to announce, I mean, their soft launch. PLA soft launched their wax at Lash Con. So they are quite literally going to start selling hard and soft wax in November. Literally here any day, any week now. And they had it sitting there. And we were like, oh, I didn't know you guys sold wax. Like, we saw them on the back of their shirts. It had said lashes, nails, which I knew they sold nail stuff, and then it said wax, and I was like, I didn't know they sold wax. And so when we went to their booth and they had the wax set up in PLA wax pots, PLA wax sticks, everything, I was like, I didn't know you guys had a waxing line. And they were like, we're actually soft launching it here at Lash Con first before
Nice.
it goes live in November. And I was like, this is why I came here.
Yeah.
And so we bought their wax. Like, we brought home PLA's wax to start using and playing with before it's even available to the general public. Like, that's why we went. And I'm telling you, that's the reason to go to these things. Like, not only to meet new people, to get new ideas, to get new inspiration, but also, yeah, girl.
New products, new things.
Yeah,
Yes.
the new products that
Awesome.
aren't even available yet. Like, we were there for it. And the free stuff, like I said. Free spoolies. Oh my god, so many free spoolies. I didn't know how much I would like spoolies made of silicone versus, I'll have to show you some of the free spoolies we got, girl.
Okay.
I'm digging them. Yeah,
Okay.
so just, yeah, it was
I feel it.
an amazing time.
Yes.
I recommend everybody in the lash industry going to the Lash conference for being our first time too. Like, we were newbies. So for that being our first time, and this obviously being the biggest Lash Con that they've had yet,
Right.
that was so freaking much. So if you come with us next year, it's literally going to be the equivalent of like going to Disney World with Taylor, where you're like, thank God somebody knows what's going on. Like, that's how you're going to feel. Because I feel like I'm never going to really know what's going on, but we'll be able to drag you along a little bit. I'm going to shut the heck up. Oh, final note, Disney, magic. Magical, baby. I've never been to Disney anything, so Disneyland, I know so many people that are Disney connoisseurs laugh at Disneyland because it's smaller than any of the other Disney parks and things like that, and they're like, it's so comical, like, it's because it's the first, right? So it had a lot of kinks to get worked out as they made bigger and better parks. But as someone who had never been, I was a kid in a candy store. I felt all the magic. I'm officially now obsessed. I get it now, guys. I'm obsessed.
Yes.
And I'm obsessed with Nightmare Before Christmas and Oogie Boogie. I get it. I was such a hater, literally walking into the park on Friday, walking out of the park on Friday. I was like, Oogie Boogie! So I get it. Disney is the most magical, happiest place on earth. And go to the Lash conference. Go to Disneyland, Disney World. Go in Paris. Go in Florida. I don't care. Get your Disney fix somehow. And on that note, that was episode 17.
We fun-filled. Like, I just want to keep, like, asking more, but maybe we can...
Oh, girl,
split
trust.
this into,
I will.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe we have to do this as a two-parter because
Yes.
for real, like, I just kind of rambled. I didn't even really give you guys, like, a full... This is what happened. This is who I talked to. This is who this is what, like, the events, because there was so much.
Right.
And that's all I can say about it. Is there's so much. And it was so great. The people were great. The vibes were great. The energy. Right when we walked in, there was this girl sitting there with, like, this glass cart that had this glass teapot of hibiscus teas, and you would walk up to her, and everybody that walked up at the same time, she would, like, say a few words, and then we would all close our eyes and, like, do a thing. It was like a ritual of sorts because it was a cleansing tea for positive energies and things like that. So, that was right up my alley. I said, y'all doing a little ritual right here with tea and herbs? Oh, say less. Like, I was like, these are my people. Like, it was great.
That's
so
amazing.
I a million percent recommend it. And we're just going to have to talk more about it.
Yes.
Trust me, I have so many ideas and so many things that are bubbling and brewing. Like I said, I got a list for you, bitch. So,
Awesome.
on that note,
Thank you so much for tuning in.
This is it. Yeah, like, I'll keep talking if we don't shut up, so I better shut up. Don't forget Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
Yes.
It's just Lash Confessions, guys. If anything, it might be Lash Confessions 402 because we're in the 402, Omaha, Nebraska. So, we love you guys. Thank you if you made it this far, sincerely thank you. Because, girl, I just be talking like... Oopsie. I still got a grocery run to make before I hit the gym.
Oh my gosh.
How crazy. I'm having a day.
We will see you guys next week. Thank you so much.
Okay.
We love you.
Bye.